establish that foundation that we are okay. So the main areas covered by Code of Corporate Governance are as follows. So corporate governance code now, we have it in Nigeria, we have it in US. Every country, every nation has it. So the main area that corporate governance code should cover, the role and responsibility of the board. The role and responsibility of the board should be covered. The composition and balance of the board should be covered. And we are going to get into all those details. So their roles and responsibilities, the composition of the board, the financial reporting and accountability side of business operation should be covered by the Code of Corporate Governance. So you see now that even you can be the chairman panel of Code of Conduct Nigeria, but these are the elements that is required. Those are the things we must ensure that we have codes for. So the financial reporting or accountability side of team, the director's remuneration. The director's remuneration, risk management and internal control must be covered by the code. Risk management and internal control, shareholders' rights. Shareholders' rights must be contained in Code of Corporate Governance. Risk management, okay, I have mentioned that. Shareholders' rights, among so many other things that must be covered. Let's quickly see through them in detail, then we examine Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance, then we go to US. So the role and responsibility of the board, what are they supposed to be doing? What will be the BOD contribution into the organization? All those must be covered, like the governance, ensuring that we have audit committee is the responsibility of the board of directors. Don't forget that audit committee is a subcommittee of, so the board has responsibility to ensure that accountability side. We must ensure that we have audit committee, and audit committee too must ensure that we have internal control system that is working. And internal auditors must report back to the audit committee, while audit committee reported back or reports back to the house. So we must equally have balanced composition of the board. Like I mentioned, in the board we must have the representative of the shareholders, representative of the management, and we must have non-executive. They are just neutral. They are just neutral people. So you want to hear candid opinion? Non-executive will give it to you. they don't have anything at stake. But they are very skillful people. Very skillful people. Reporting, narrative reporting, auditing, and the like. I think we are very familiar with that. Director's remuneration. This is one of the aspects that cause wahala in organizations, especially when it comes to board of directors. What is the composition? Yes, I'm on page 4. Towards the end of page 4. So we've not been following your words. Did you see it? Do you see it now? Okay. Anybody having issues with it? Okay? Page 4 towards the end. So director's remuneration, we must set it. And how do we set it? It differs from one organization to the other, but we must ensure that there will not be self-interest in the composition of the remuneration. Like when we say a board member should, of course, because they are the aim of governance, they should introduce businesses to us if possible. But if they do, we must ensure that they declare that this business is coming from them or they have interest in this deal. If not, it's going to cause wahala. So the remuneration must be packaged in such a way that to ensure independence of the directors. The directors work for reward to encourage their commitments to achieving the objective of their company. They should be given suitable incentives. Linking remuneration to performance is considered essential for successful corporate governance. So, even the board must have performance management. Can we believe it? Even the board must have performance management. Their works or contribution must be reviewed. And they must have tenure. Not that they will always be there. I don't know how many of us are used to maybe organizations, secretarial services and the like. You see that sometimes you see so and so is retiring from so and so time or has retired. Does not mean that maybe that person has done something bad. They say he or she should go from the board. No. It's a tenure. After the tenure of that person expires, another board member should come in. Just to ensure that the reason for the board is still maintained, the objective is still maintained. Risk management, like I mentioned, and internal control. It is the board's responsibility to see that we have strong internal control system and they must oversee it. Especially for the PLCs or public interest organization. Shareholders' rights must be maintained. On the board, we must have those that have the interest of the shareholders. Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance. So this was prepared by the FRC. Do we know what FRC? We should, yes, we should. So in 2018. And it requires that companies should comply with the principles and provisions of codes, just as the code shall form the basis of the minimum standard for their corporate behavior. Minimum standard. That means some organization can still go further to improve upon their activities. But the minimum standard are these ones that we've cited. But can we say every organization in Nigeria even have it? Even this minimum? A more general set of corporate governance guidelines has been issued by the Organization for Economics, Cooperation and Development, OECDC. I want to believe we've add that one. OECD, which all countries are encouraged to adopt as the minimum standard for the corporate governance in their territory. Maybe we should just discuss this. What can we say is a good company? What, to you, what is a good company? What is a good company? Or what is a good governance? You may add into it. What is a good company? What is a good governance? What is a good? You did not join us on Thursday. You went to work. So what is a good company? stakeholders? Or for who? We have a lot of interests. To who? You know, Mendelo, to me you've done Mendelo. The stakeholders. So, if they are not specific, it becomes an issue. Because we have a lot of stakeholders, a lot of interest in an organization. What can we say in good companies? There is no wrong or right answer because it's based on our perspective. And don't forget where our perspective is coming from. Our background, our experience, our etc. Oh, so you are for shareholders wealth maximization. So don't complain if they do not pay employee you. I am one of them. You see, your answer is almost the same as ours, but it's more specific. But CSM is not that difficult. Okay, but that's very difficult job that you are giving them. It's not impossible, right? So the dynamic but to satisfy everybody. Last but not least, so with all these things, you said you satisfy. How would they satisfy that we did? Normally, we make profit. See all those things. Money must go there. They only give you the employee and shareholders. They don't give you customers. For the exactly. That's what I give you customers. And you have appropriate quality. Prepare for the exam. They will not say you should not answer anyway without answer, but you must be able to defend yourself. What is a good company to you? It's what? Okay. Company that is good. And if we now divine a good company to be that, then it's long-term goal. So that means that company may not be good now. Because they are working towards their objectives. You know, mission is yes. So okay, but let's say we meet them at the point that they are working towards the long term, but the short term results is not good enough. Are we still going to say? Yeah, you understand? Like we want to be the best in this industry.
The company that has financial, it has potential of being a going concern, that population of years. At least if it has the possibility of becoming of continuing as a going concern, it has the potential of also possibility of being the company.
That's a good problem. Yeah. resourcefulness. So it will meet a young company. It will not be able. So that means as at that time we will say it's not a bad company. But they are actually on their way to be good company. But before they be that good, that are in quotes, they must sacrifice the short for the long term. Like all those ones, if you study their history, you see that maybe some staff that are gone may not see them the way we are seeing them now. Because they paid the sacrifice for them to be where they are today. Okay, so no good or bad organization really, it depends on the way we see them or what we expect, whether what we expect from them actually is being met or not. So fantastic. You might think that a good company is any or all of these that we've mentioned, or you might have a different opinion about what makes a good company. However, your views on what makes a good company will probably also affect your opinion about how company ought to be governed. Do we agree? You will see that all of us, we have different perspectives, unique, and I tell you, those are perspectives that we expressed, they are unique to us. So if we find ourselves at the helm of governance, those will be our priority. You don't want progress. So as much as possible, you don't know how are you going to do with a system. You don't want bureaucracy because it comes with it.
Yeah, please next.
Yes, it could be. It could be. So, depending on how we see a good or bad company, it has to say who or what our own worldview are to and how we will be governed. You understand? So definitely, all of us will not govern the same way because we have our different priorities. Some of us are wealth maximization, but nobody mentioned green here. Yes, ecosystem, eco-friendly. We are typical Nigeria. Let's just make our money, Jare. Cut the green, the tree down, Jare. Let's make our money. Those that were here on Thursday saw what we saw, even in this class. Because of the ecosystem affected. So governance in public organization. So just like in the private organization, the same governance system must be in place. Some people must report to another people. Some people must delegate. Some people must implement and the like. But one thing, I think that is what I need to pay point our attention. The difference between corporate governance and its management in public organization and in business or private organization is objective. Don't forget, organizations are for profit making, while public organizations are for what? Welfare of the citizen. Welfare of the citizen. So the way we will audit them is different. The way we are going to govern them is equally different. Not different in the sense that maybe there will be a unique system that is so different. No. But the mechanism of measurement of performance, I think that's what we should emphasize. Our performance measurements will differ. Now we look at the organization for profit making. We want to see how agency, and we fulfilling it, maybe the aspect of the society that we're supposed to reach out to, our services getting to them. Do we understand? That is how we are going to measure their own performance. But for profit-making organization, it's all about profit. So I think that's the area I need to emphasize. Apart from that, every other aspect of governance is the same. Like in Nigeria, we have head of parastatal, right? Who reports to, I think, Governor Abi, the governor of the state, and the like. The governor too reports to, just like the organization, we have the MD, report to the board, and the like. So these are the 6 sets of principles of corporate governance in public service. Good governance means focusing on organization's purpose or purposes or agency. I think we should be using agency so that we will not still be thinking about private organization. Good governance means performing effectively in clear defined function and role. Like the agency in charge of our road. Are they really constructing our road the way they should? Like, so that is how we are going to measure their governance and performance. Good governance means promoting values for the whole organization and demonstrating the values of good governance through behavior. Good governance means taking informed, transparent decisions and managing risks. Can we say they are managing our risks for us? Like the NSAS. Good governance means developing the capacity and capability of the governing body to be effective. Good governance means engaging stakeholders, not the shareholders now, and making accountability real. Especially here, accountability is, can we say, if it's in existence, it's not real. It's not real. Our people want power, but they do not want accountability. It's not easy to be accountable. Yes, it may not be, but it's part of life. Do we know that even in our own life, we must be accountable for ourselves? Even personally, if you are not accountable to yourself, that's a problem. And that's why we have societal problems.
And another problem we have is mindset. But I don't know, even in smaller bodies, organizations, once some people have already voted into manage affairs, yes. The people are already, like, they are all in their mind, these people collect our money, these people coming from. So they already have that mindset.
The mindset.
These people are stealing from us. Not even knowing whether
they actually stole.
Sacrificing from their own pocket. So that's our mindset today. Because the job.
Yes, like a security practitioner was saying on radio today, that he has met some fantastic SAS officers, fantastic policemen, even in this country. But the citizen mindset is, let's just end them. Let's just end them. Yes, but they actually represent us, and that's the truth. They didn't come from Pluto now. They are among us. They are brothers and sisters. So they are only representing who we are. And that was his conclusion, that NSAS is not, we will NSAS tomorrow. The people that will come again, don't forget that they disbanded actually the departments. Not that they said the officers should go. because it's a department, so they will redeploy them. They are still in the system. So it's the system and ourselves that should become good. Yes. The citizenry, ourselves. So we need to look within and say, okay, Benga, you must be good. You must be good. Is then we can produce a good policeman or good policeman.
I feel like children are actually really hard
because of us.
It's not an excuse for them to start killing people and actually
yes.
But I think
but it's not about killing alone.
They don't have the necessary training. No kind of training to their barracks.
Yes, facility and things like that.
Some of them do this thing out of position to get away to get money.
Agreed.
Extort.
Yes.
So I feel like if they have,
even in this country. Yes. Impromptu interview. And over abroad in the US, who are not accountable to themselves. First of all, if someone is not accountable to himself or herself, cannot be accountable to you. That is the truth. That is the truth. So we cannot define or say there is a good governance if there is no responsibility, accountability, honesty, integrity. Also, we'll be talking about reputation. What is that person known for? What is that person known for? And you were asking such a where we are coming from, concept of good governance. So in good governance, to have a good governance, like when we say define what a good company is to you, or define a good policeman, like we say. So if we want to define what good governance is, we must talk about fairness. So we are now given components of good governance now, class. Fairness. We must be fair. We must be fair. We must be able to answer this question. If they do this to me, will I be happy? So if I will not be happy, don't do it to other people. That is fairness. Of course, we are accountant. Fair. We must be fair. 2, transparency and openness. We must be transparent, we must be open. The question is, how transparent should we be and how open should we be? So we must be able to allow other people to ask us questions about what we've done. That is openness. But we'll see that you hardly will be able to ask our politician impromptu interview. And over abroad in the US, if you see a public servant on the road, you can begin to ask them and record things. That is transparency. That is openness. Yes. Yes. You should be able to. This is what we did for the country yesterday. This is how far we've gone. That is transparency. So we must have it. Independence. We must be independent. Or anybody at the helm of governance must be independent. Like we are talking about, okay, if we have directors that has interest in any contract, they must let others know that CEO, this company that is going to supply us this is my company. So that is independence. Then they will decide, okay, if you want to supply us, then you cannot be our director or this way. So that is independence. Honesty and integrity is part of corporate governance. Honesty, integrity, and you see that the word integrity, which is ICAN's slogan, is actually an encompassing word. Honesty, integrity, responsibility and accountability. We must be responsible and accountable to one another, even in our individual life. I always emphasize that. See, we have bad leadership because we have people that have not demonstrated the results even in their own life. We have people at the end of governance who are not accountable to themselves. First of all, if someone is not accountable to himself or herself, cannot be accountable to you. That is the truth. That is the truth. So, we cannot define or say there is a good governance if there is no responsibility, accountability, honesty, integrity. Also, we'll be talking about reputation. What is that person known for? What is that person known for? And you were asking such a question here, it should be so unfortunate, the replies that will be getting. Because many of our leaders are not known for. They just show up or fought on us, godfatherism and things like that. But for good governance to take place, we must have people that have demonstrated capacity, even in their own life. So they must have reputation in their own sphere of life. We cannot know everything, but in their own world, they must be known for something. They must have good judgment, that is ability to decide right. And they must have demonstrated it. It's not that when they now do the position of governance, they begin to demonstrate it. Like the one question here, we put them on apprenticeship when they're supposed to be governing. So they must have demonstrated good judgment. So here we are. Nolan's 7 principles of public life. I taught you before.